On Tuesday, August 18th, 2026, 150 Central Georgians reported to work at Anchor Glass, only to find that it was permanently closed. This has become a regular occurrence across the United States. So the question is, what do you do when your safety net has a hole in it? Hello, I am Erica Lamar, and welcome to Embracing the Fight. This is a podcast that was designed to help normalize the conversation surrounding physical and mental health issues and concerns that I started back in January 2023 to talk about my journey through thyroid cancer. I thought it was much easier, if I were to talk about myself and bring up, things, concerning me to help other people feel comfortable about discussing their situations or their giving their testimonies and things of that nature. Now, thank you to all of those who have gone above and beyond and you have subscribed and you have become a part of the Embracing the Fight family. You follow me everywhere on social media: TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, X, Facebook, YouTube, all of it. But with Instagram, it is Embracing the Fight underscore. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. I'm still there. Check me out. And if you'd like to be a guest on Embracing the Fight, you can send me an email at operations@diversitydesign.com, or you can reach out to me anywhere on social media and just say, hey, I want to be a guest. And I'll reach out to you and we'll get this thing rolling. But, today I just really want to talk about what happens when your safety net, has a hole in it. Well, a lot of people, when you lose a job, you start to panic. You start, first thing you say is, oh, I don't have health insurance, and oh, I don't have life insurance, and I don't have dental insurance, I don't have vision insurance, I don't have, any of this. I don't have a steady paycheck. I still have a mortgage. My kids are in school. I have all these different things, that I have to take care of. And when you're going through those thoughts, this affects your mental health. And I was looking at something, on the news, like I think it was last week, where this husband and wife decided to, do this murder suicide, pact where they kill their kids and then they kill themselves because the man, I believe, he lost his job, and I think the wife, was talking about how the bills were overwhelming and it was just too much and too many things going on that they'd be better off dead. It's like, no, there's so much more to life. Because I'm a witness, I can tell you that I have been, self-employed for 2 years after they came in and they eliminated my position. Sure, at first I was thinking all the things that, all the people at Anchor Glass, are thinking. Like, I've dedicated my time and my efforts to this company and I have nothing to show for it now, other than, maybe some money in the 401k and, all the experience that I gained. But something that is absolutely certain: if you have a home, there are certain things you can do to preserve your home. If you have children and they need health insurance and you need health insurance, there is assistance, out there. And I just want you to know there's hope. There is no need to, sit there and say, okay, I can't get another job. I can't make enough money to support everything that I have. Let me just, commit suicide. Let me just murder my family and commit suicide. That should not ever be an option. Even when you don't have anyone that you can go to and you can get money from, there are programs that are around you that, can truly help you. Now, if you are outside, of Macon, Georgia, I'm just going to give you the blueprint on how you find these places. I know a lot of people probably sitting there going, I don't like, getting on the computer. I don't like searching. I don't like doing this. I don't like doing that. But when push comes to shove and you absolutely have to have something, like if you need food, if you need lights, if you need water, if you need those things, sometimes you have to move your pride and your pain, to the side. And you have to say, I am doing this, for my family. Because if you don't do that, guess what? You may end up homeless. You may end up in a worse situation when you could, head it off right now. So the first thing that I would do is get out that resume, number one, and update it. Update it and get with LinkedIn, put all your information on there and start, looking there. You can go to Indeed, you can go to Zip Recruiter, and then there are all these job.ai, sites that if you put your information in there, they can find you a job, very quickly if that is what you desire. But if you don't want to be in that situation again and you want to start your own business, you can go to the Small Business Administration and start a business. It doesn't have to be something that you know anything about. You could even start a cleaning service. You could start a food truck because people like to have clean spaces and they like to eat. There's so many things that you could do rather than think about, exterminating or eliminating your family. Your safety net you thought was your job, but now that it has a hole in it, what are you going to do? Are you just going to let everything fall out, or are you going to figure out a way to patch that hole and make that safety net something else? So after you've polished, your resume, and after you've gone to temp agencies and you've looked at different companies, it's okay to even take some time away. That is, if you can stand it, because some 401ks have qualifying life events, like that, where you can take money out. Now you might get some type of penalty, but some companies have it set up where if you have to take it out because of some hardship, the penalty is not very great, if at all. So look at your options before you start thinking, oh, I gotta, cash everything out, and oh, I gotta do all these different things to make this money so my family doesn't miss anything or lose anything. And then realize too that if you do have to get money out of your 401k, just get enough to where you need to take care of yourself for a few months and pay your bills like regular. Don't go paying stuff off because you don't know when your next check is coming. Don't go and buy a whole bunch of other stuff trying to start a business, that you don't, really know too much about. I'm saying if you start a business, start something that is not capital intensive, where you don't have to go out and buy, everything. Like right now, what I do is consulting. And I have 22 years of experience in operations management. So that 22 years has translated into looking at documents, looking at other people's processes, talking them through things, and it's starting to pay the bills. Now, did it happen right away? No, it didn't. Um, Truth be told, the money is just starting to roll in now. And glory be to God that I have a supportive family. Because if I didn't have that, I don't know, I do know what I would have done, but since I didn't have to do anything like that, then that's fine. But if you are in that situation and you don't have a supportive family or anyone you can fall back on, get out the AI tool, ChatGPT or Claude. And what you want to do is you give it these prompts. First, you describe, who you are. You tell it what type of job that you had, how long you had it, and you tell it your dreams. You tell it what you're looking for, where you live, and your availability. And you tell it, you say at this point, I have given you a full description of me and my capabilities. One, give me a list of jobs that are currently hiring that fit my skill set. Two, create a list of remote jobs that fit my skill set. Three, design or create a list of potential small businesses that I can create with my skill set that are not capital intensive. And then it's going to spit out all this information. And then what you have to do is read it. And after you read it, you need to execute what you see. Now, it doesn't just stop there, with the AI, because after you read it, you might see something you really like, but you don't know what it is. That's when you go ahead and you go back and you ask, and you say, "Well, I see that you listed XYZ small business, but I don't exactly know how to run a business. Can you tell me what I need step by step in order to do this business?" And once you do that, it's going to give you the steps. It's going to tell you, oh, you got to get an EIN number. Actually, it's going to ask, is it for profit, non-profit, And after you give it this distinction, then you go ahead and you get your EIN number. It's going to tell you that you have to file with the Secretary of State. It's going to tell you, whether or not you need a business license, permits, and all these other things, what type of insurance. It's going to lay it all out for you. And then after you do that, you can say, okay, so how much is this going to cost and how long does it take to actually launch? You just keep asking questions until you get to a point where you have no questions, you only have actions. And once you have those actions, don't overwhelm yourself. Take those actions, day by day to get it done. Because every day that you take a step toward progress is every day you take a step towards success. Because I'll tell you, like I said, the first year I was just kind of taking, classes, and I was learning more about AI. I was learning more about me. I was trying different things. I was visiting people. I was releasing all the stress that had compounded over the years that I was working. Because a lot of people don't know, I used to have to get up, sometimes at midnight to get ready to go to work, and sometimes I didn't get home till dark. And I had this one manager that actually accused me. Well, he didn't just accuse me, he wrote me up and said that I was not at work, that I didn't come in on time, and I left early. And it was like, what? I would get to work at 2:30, sometimes 3:30. And I know the guys, if they're watching this, they probably laughing because sometimes I get in there at 3 o'clock and they looking at me like, why are you here so early? I'm like, I couldn't sleep. I had to get here. And then I would be there until after they would leave. And I had a second crew. So I would sometimes be there until 4 or 5 o'clock, with them. So I was working 12, 14, 16, 18 hours and I was exhausted. And this man had the nerve to say that I wasn't showing up for work. And it was like, no, sir, that's you. You're not the one showing up. But anyway, I said all that, to say this. When I realized that when I was working, I was losing myself, but I was collecting a paycheck, it's like something clicked in my head and said, what are you really working for? Are you working to pay bills? You working to live? You working to grow, thrive? What are you working toward? What is it? What is your why? So when your safety net has a hole in it, it's very important to know your why. Are you doing it for your family? Are you doing it because, people look up to you and you really hate what you're doing? I mean, whatever your reason is, your why has to be strong enough for you to continue on, for you to either A, start a new business or go back into the exact same industry that you went into. But then if there's nothing in your area that's similar to what you did, guess what? The job, the process, the thing that you did is translatable. Like, say for instance, if you're a welder, or let's just say, let's take the people that make the glass. That's a high heat, process. You could work somewhere that has a kiln, that makes cement. Anything that deals with like ceramics type engineering, you can easily go and work someplace like that. Now, will it be harder for you to get in versus someone who's had that type of experience? Yes, but it's worth a try because you have that transferable skill set. It doesn't have to be exactly what you've done because, it may be the only, glass plant in the area. And you may not want to leave, you may not want to move your family, but, you know, you have to do something. And then there's some people that saying, "Oh, I may have to accept a job that's, lower than what I was making." Well, if that's the case, then you may have to do it just for a short amount of time. And if you do have to do that, then you may have to, downsize your home or your car, or you can take on a remote position. And some people are working, two jobs where they go in, they hit a time clock, and then they come home at night and they work remotely. There's so much stuff out there, so many things that are available. You can even create your own like site. I don't know if anyone has really looked at or heard about school, but you think about, and when I talk about school, I'm talking about SKOOL. And what happens on school is people have taken their life experience to teach it to other people, to tell them this is how I did what I did. So if you are curious about trying something new or something different, just go through school and look at, what's available there and see if there's someone there that you want to listen to. Because 9 times out of 10, the people who are on school, they're also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And you could go into their accounts and see what type of information they're giving out for free. You don't necessarily have to join school or pay for it, at that point, because right now you're trying to minimize your bills, not add to them. But say, for instance, you see someone on there and you say, you know what, let me find them on social media. You find them on social media and they're dropping nuggets every day. They're giving free information to help you get further along. Now, for those people that have, the 401k and everything, you know that in extreme cases too, you could take a loan out. But I don't know that since the business has closed, whether or not you can take a loan at this point. Now, if you took one last week, you're fine. You don't have to pay it back right away. It takes, time. But if you're able to borrow against your 401k, you're basically paying yourself back. But if you have to take it out, and if it doesn't have that, caveat that says during financial hardship, during something, like a plant closing unexpectedly, then, if you don't have a caveat that says that you can take this money penalty free, then I wouldn't, take out a large sum. I would just take out what I needed for the next, 3, 4 months to keep my household afloat. Now, one thing that I would say that you definitely need to do before you do any of this stuff, you need to pray. Lay it all before God and let Him know exactly what's in your heart. You say, Lord, I had this job. I worked there, faithfully. I was on time. I did everything, that I was designed to do, and the doors closed on me. And I'm sure that God is going to tell you that there's another door that is about to open. It's waiting on you to make the decision to walk through it. So 9 times out of 10, you've all heard something in your dreams and in your thoughts that said, this isn't where, you should be, but it's a necessary means to an end. So evaluate your situation. Sit down and talk to someone. Don't just, fly off the handle. And then say if you're one of those people that, didn't have a benefits package and, you know, you just kind of like, oh gosh, I don't have anything. Go file for unemployment. File for unemployment today. Don't wait. File for it right away. And then after you get, approved for it, then you have to start looking for a job anyway, because there are certain things that you have to do to continue to get, unemployment. Also, go ahead, sign up for SNAP benefits. And then there are organizations that are around. You could also look on ChatGPT for this as well. You can say, what organizations are in my area that will help, a person who has lost everything. And you don't necessarily have to say you lost everything. Just say you've temporarily lost your job and you cannot pay, certain bills. And they bring you in for counseling. Some organizations give you money, some give you food, some, give you clothing, things of that nature. And some just come out, to find out what they can do, to help. They offer career assistance. They'll even tell you, hey, we know of this organization that helps with job placements, and they'll put you in the forefront. What you can't do is sit there in a pity party and cry about it. It's okay. Go ahead and cry one day. But after you cry that one day, take that needle and sew that hole up in that safety net and start filling back up with other things. Fill it up with new jobs. Fill it up with a new business. Fill it up with community service, with goodness, with something that brings you peace. This is a major opportunity for someone who's been trapped at that place for 10 years and they thought, I really need to leave here, but I don't know what to do. Now that, you've been pushed off the ledge, you have to make the choice to open the parachute or hit the ground. I prefer that you open the parachute. Another thing that you can do, I know you have plenty of friends, church members, neighbors, former employers. Reach out to them, explain the situation, And like I said, have that resume polished, have your references ready, and be ready to go to work. Now, I know there's some folks out there who say, I can't find nothing like that. Well, there's always other, jobs. You can go into customer service. You may have to move. Whatever you do, just have an open mind because you are going through this thing or this situation for a reason. I'm not saying, God goes around and say, oh, let's close this place and see how well they do. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you're going through it for a reason. There's something better, something greater on the other side for you. And I used to tell myself that, and I was like, I don't know if it is or not, because I don't ever want to go back and do, that kind of work anymore. Not because, I didn't enjoy it. I did enjoy being outside and walking around and talking to the guys and seeing, how things work. But I didn't like office politics because I'm not good at that. Because if you ask me a question, my answer is my answer. My yes means yes, and my no means no. And the way one of our friends said it, I verbally castrate people and they don't like it. But I mean, don't ask me if you don't want to know. And that I've always been that way. I mean, since I was a child, if you don't want to know the answer, don't ask me. But I digress. I just want to encourage everyone who's going through a season in their life where, you may be unemployed. You may have lost a lot of things and you feel like you have nothing and there's nothing that you could do. Don't do that because you can make yourself sick. And making yourself sick only makes the situation worse. You can write a book. You know how many children books are out there right now? Not very many, especially not ones to, encourage and uplift. A lot of them are, I'm not judging these stories, but some of the stuff I read, I'm like, oh God, what are kids reading today? And it's like, whatever happened, to like the Nancy Drew stories and stuff that really make you think, make you question, make you look deeper and further into situations and things and not taking stuff for face value. I mean, you could create a coloring book. You just have to find your tribe. You have to find your people. And once you do, you'll blow up. I mean, create your own YouTube channel. I mean, I've created, a couple of YouTube channels and it's been an interesting ride because I haven't found my people yet. I found some of my people, and like I said, I love all of y'all, all of my subscribers. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. But you have to think outside the box because technology is making things a whole lot easier. Now, the question is, if you're not technically savvy, what do you do? YouTube University. There's one, it's free. You can get on there. You can ask it, how to do all these different things. And it's going to give you videos of people who are doing the very thing that you're asking how to do. They train you and show you. And you can also go to the SBA. The SBA has training, free training that you could go to and you can learn, how to build your own business. Now, there's lots of free training out there. You just, and you can't say you don't have time because you're not working right now. So you could spend time training, reading, doing all the things that you didn't get to do. You could spend time hugging your kids. And if you don't have kids, you got grandkids, you can spend time with the grandkids. I mean, don't make yourself feel like a failure. Don't make yourself feel like, this is the end of the line for you just because one door closed. That door closed for a reason. It's time for you to open and walk through another. Close up that safety net. Put God in it. Bet on you. Have faith in the process and take action. And no other door will close on you like that ever again because it'll all be on you and in God's hands. So that's what I wanted to encourage you all about, today. Because, like I said, it's happening all over the US. All these different places are closing. And it's like, what are people going to do? And it's getting closer and closer to where every, technology is taking over. But the thing is, as long as you have someone who can train the technology on the things that you've done, you'll have a job. You'll have, a way to do something. If it is a physical skill, those skills can't be replaced, by AI, unless they make some robots that start, building houses and, laying bricks and welding and things of that nature. But that it'll be a while before that sort of thing happens, if it happens in our lifetime. But if it does, I want you to be prepared. I want you to learn, something new. Pick up a new skill. Do something different. And if you have medication that is too high, let me give you an example. So I've told you all before that I take Eliquis because I have factor five lightning. And Eliquis can be up to about $700. I've paid 25 for it. I've paid 300 for it. I paid $695 for it. Bristol Myers Squibb has an application where you can get your medication free if you are unemployed or self-employed and you don't, bring in any money and you have no insurance. You can go to these different manufacturers, explain, your situation in the application. And once you do that and you submit the application and they verify it with your doctor's office, you get your medicines for free. And I always wonder, like I've seen some elderly people that say they don't buy their medication because they can't afford it. But then once I show them, hey, you can do this, and they do it and they see the medication is free, it's like I could have been doing this the whole time, but I just didn't know. So now that you've listened to my podcast, you know. So if you don't have the meds that you need and you are unemployed, go to the manufacturer of the medication, fill out that application to, get the free medication. And all they can do is say yes or no. And if they say no, some pharmacies, some hospitals have programs where you can get reduced medication. Like for instance, First Choice Primary Care. They have reduced costs for for you to go to the doctor and see any specialist that they have in their group, and your medications can be reduced. The only reason people don't know about it is because they don't know to ask. It's one of those HRSA programs that's government funded. So it's available for you. A lot of people be sitting there saying, I don't want to do that because, I make money. Move your pride to the side. Sometimes you have to move your pride in order to you know, get moving to go forward. Pride is what holds a lot of us back because we were used to living a good life. Used to being the one with the nice house, the nice car, all the money in the bank, and everybody's looking up to you. And then all of a sudden, now you're the one that's like broke, broken, and you're watching everybody else move and live, and you're trying to figure things out. Guess what? It happens to the best of us, but you don't have to stay there. You can get through this. So I'm encouraging anyone who has lost their job, whose safety net has a hole in it, that it can be mended. It just takes some time and a little bit of effort and a whole lot of prayer. All right. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedule to watch this episode of Embracing the Fight. What to do when your safety net has a hole in it. And as always, I want you all to have an absolutely amazing day.